So the other book that I have today with me is Moveable Feast by Ernest Hemingway. It's a small, concise, articulated, and concrete memoir of Ernest Hemingway when he was living in Paris as a struggling writer. And this memoir and this text uh, deals with his his struggle as a writer and how he's finding his voice and how he developed a discipline to go about it. And uh, as the movable feast, the title of the book is explained as that wherever you go, if you lived in Paris, wherever you go, Paris is a movable feast. It stays with you. That's why it's a movable feast. So there is the title of the book. And this book explores a lot of artistic um, adventures. Like, for example, um, he talks about he travels through Paris and sits in cafes and write. And he talks about that. Uh, he writes when he's hungry because he thinks that hunger hunger sharpens the creativity of mind. And so he's struggling, as I just mentioned. He come and he's with this his wife of him wife of his, and he meets these great other writers of the time. uh, uh, Fitzgerald Scott. He meets F. Scott Fitzgerald and and Stein, and so he explained uh, Fitzgerald as an insecure man. So there are these insights that make the memoir more engaging and more interesting because he is he is not buttering anyone. He is just putting his thought out there and whatever he feels. So movable feast is this extraordinary primer to artists and especially to the writers um, who are finding their voice. And it's a very enjoyable text. It's a very engaging and very interesting text. And to write something like that when you are very young, because the book is set around in 1920s. I set around that time, but it was published much later. Um, I think somewhere in 1960s and maybe. So so it explores that world after the First World War and how the world was like. And he it also talks about the hardships and the financial condition of him and people around him. And he he gives quite an insight of others' characters as well, because he's just observing everything as a as a new being, and he's somehow trying to articulate all that around him as an artist.